Namaste everyone. I'm Shruti Tiwari here from Supergrads CAT. First of all, check whether I'm perfectly audible and visible to you all. All right. So we can start the session then. Today we'll be talking about TISSNet, which is now, the TISS has decided to take selections from CUET PG. So that's what we are going to talk about today. And specifically, I'll be talking about the verbal section, how to prepare for that and how to go about it. Um, ये एक अच्छी खबर है या टेंशन वाली खबर है सबसे पहले तो ये डिस्कस कर लेते हैं टिसनेट हैज बीन स्क्रैप्ड एंड नाउ यू हैव टू टेक CUET-PG to get admissions in TISS, that is the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So obviously, it's a good news. Why? Because level of difficulty and number of questions and obviously the overall experience will be a little different from what had been earlier. All right, CUET PG ने भी इस बार काफी changes कर लिए हैं. Syllabus although remains the same, but then number of questions have been reduced from 100 to 75. So that's a good news. And time has not been, um, cut short as much. ठीक है? Although you are uh, taking 25 questions less than the last year, but the time given is, 1 hour 40 minutes, 1 hour 45 minutes roundabout. So not much of the time has been, scrapped. If I talk about the overall experience, the level of difficulty of the CUET PG is easy to moderate. All right, you'll hardly find any difficult questions except for general studies, that means general awareness and all. Rest of the section, you'll always have questions which are easy to moderate. Uh, if I specifically talk about the verbal section, जिसको यहाँ पर इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज या इंग्लिश कॉम्प्रिहेंशन बोलते हैं. So there will be last year there were 30 questions and I did not find any tough question in that. This year I'm sure क्योंकि questions reduce हो गए हैं तो you'll find almost like 25 questions. So um, English will be the most scoring, subject for you or the most scoring topic for you. COET में कहीं कोई sectionals नहीं होते हैं. Overall paper is all mix, of the questions. So you'll find a lot of, easy questions in terms of level of difficulty for if I talk about the English section, all right, and compare them to maths and DILR. Okay, so let me give you a briefing. Let me give you that picture, I mean, the complete picture of the English section. So, topics covered which are given by CUET, that is NTS, is English grammar, English usage, and sentence correction, sentence improvement. That is all grammar. All right. So, you can see that there are only one question of English grammar, English usage, and one question of sentence correction. And then sentence improvement, there are four questions. So English grammar happens to be like 4 to 5 questions. Then parajumbles, you'll have 3 questions. And, खुशी की बात यह है कि इसमें वो parajumbles cat वाली level नहीं है. ठीक है? They are very, very simple parajumbles. In fact, out of 3, I would say, एक आध तो वो sentence jumble दे देंगे. ठीक है? It's not parajumble, it will be sentence jumble. One sentence divided into 4 parts and you have to arrange it to form a single sentence. Also, you can have parasymbols as well, like in the sentences are not very long. All right, you'll hardly have sentences of 10 to 12 words, 15 words, so and easy to arrange. All right, so easy parasymbols. Then you have one word substitution ki 5 questions you had last year, and then synonyms and antonyms and idioms and phrases. But the biggest chunk was that of reading comprehension. It has always been like that. Reading comprehension, happens to be the most important section of English part in all MBA entrance exams across. But then यहाँ पर एक happy news ये है कि the reading comprehension is not that of ZAT or CAT level, which I've been preparing for till now. ये बहुत ही easy level होता है. as compared to cat and zat. ठीक है? It is more of like 150 200 words to 350 words के करीब करीब, मतलब 3 paragraphs 4 paragraphs का this passage is there, which is easy to move. All right, you'll not find very tough or complicated sentences here. It is more of a newspaper column, or probably, an article or a small anecdote written by someone, or a travelogue kind of, interesting story. The best part of, CUET reading comprehension is that questions are very easy to solve. All right. Why am I saying that? We'll be solving questions now. I'll be doing that for years now. But then, if I talk about 2022, 2023, you'll find that most of the questions are doable. All right. Vocabulary के questions होते हैं. Direct questions, just you have to search for the answer. Questions on inference, one or two. Okay. Otherwise, most of the questions are easy to go. So largely, I would say, and my focus basically is on this part of the CUET English comprehension, for the very specific reason that ये 10 नंबर जो है ये बिल्कुल हलवा है ना, बस मुंह में डालो और खा लो. That's what it is. मतलब मैथ्स में तुम्हें सॉल्व करने में टाइम लगेगा, एलआरडीआई में तुम्हें क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने पड़ेंगे, यू हैव टू गेट टू द आंसर. बट इफ आई टॉक अबाउट रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इन सीयूईटी, it is there. You don't have to remember anything. There is no formula you have to remember, no calculations to be done. You just have to search for the answer, and it is there in your hands. All right. So ये 10 नंबर तुम्हारे 10 नहीं, 10 into 4, 40 marks. All right, play a very, very important role in your selection. So this is something which I would say is something which is very important, and I want you to focus on that. I want you to practice this. All right. Rest of the questions, obviously, yes, are important. I don't say that vocabulary is not important. Vocabulary के भी काफी अच्छे questions हैं. But then vocabulary का ऐसा है ना कि आता है तो आता है, नहीं तो भारत हमारी माता है, kind of. ठीक है? If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you can't do anything actually. All right. But reading comprehension में क्या है? The passage is there in front of you. You just have to go through it properly and find the answer. You don't have to recall anything from your memory. You don't have to do anything there. You just have to search for the answer. So why not practice it? All right. So this is good way of scoring well in the CUET PG. Uh, मेरा plan ये है कि I have come with this PYQs, all right, previous year questions of 2023, and we'll solve them together. Okay, I'll tell you how I go about solving those passages. You hardly take any time in solving those 5 questions. 5 मिनट में अगर 5 questions हो रहे हैं, nothing like that. All right. So you'll save on a lot of time, and you'll be able to devote that extra time to maths and DLR section, so that you score very well there also. So English, जो बीच बीच में questions आ रहे हैं, take them as popcorns, intervals, just solve it and move ahead. All right. So this is how you have to move in CUET PG. I would request you all that अभी 11 तारीख से है शायद से 11 to 28 March. So you have good time in hand, utilize this time properly and practice, every day. Okay, so अगर 2 से 3 passages every day you are solving, nothing like that. You will be very easily, sailing through this section. All right. So let's move. If you have any questions, you can write them in the comment section. I'm there to answer them. All right. So we'll solve them together. I mean, at least I want you all to solve it with me. If you want, I can give you a little time, and then we can move ahead. All right. The basic purpose is that if you have been solving passages for CAT and ZAT, see, you have already seen the bad times. That means you solve all the toughest, RCs. So probably for you then, who have prepared for CAT and ZAT, for you, CUET will be a piece of cake. I'm very sure. But if you have not prepared for CAT and you're only preparing for CUET, then also I'm very sure that you've already prepared for board exams, isn't it? 10th and 12th. So The passages which are asked in CUET are something at par with that, all right? Moderate to easy, or easy to moderate in that case. Okay, so nothing to worry about. Let's see, all right? मैं बोलूं उससे अच्छा हम साथ में सॉल्व करेंगे देन यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड बस ध्यान इतना ही रखना है दैट आई वांट यू टू स्कोर these 10 questions from these 10 questions 10 on 10 you should get correct. All right, that's what my expectation from you is. All right, so let's move ahead. This is the first passage of 2023. I'm giving you time to read. Shall I give you time to read actually? The first step of solving reading comprehension in CUET is do not start reading the passage before you have read all the questions. First, go through the questions, understand what the questions are and what you have to read in the passage. Only then start reading the passage. Am I making sense? Let's first go through the questions then. What questions are asked? The first is choose the word similar in meaning to the word tirade. The story narrated in the passage teaches us to be. Which of the following is or are correct as per the passage? It is something about guest in the restaurant. Match the list. It is about these four qualities: aggressiveness, assertiveness, persuasiveness, and politeness. And then what does winning combination in the story include? Winning combination must have been mentioned somewhere in the passage. So now you're clear that there is no inferential question as such. It is only about the lessons which are asked and the vocabulary which is asked. All right. Now go through the passage. Shall we do it together? I walked into a popular restaurant recently and heard someone talking in a very loud voice. I was intrigued because this was a good restaurant, which most people enjoy eating at very much. The staff are helpful and courteous. The food is delicious, and the people who come there are, for the most part, regulars. You can thus imagine my surprise when I heard a loud, angry voice booming from a table nearly. Now, I'm a curious person by nature, so I walked over to the nearest table I could get to. I saw a guest frantically ges- gesticulating. Okay, it is gesticulating both at the server as well as his food. His body language was screaming with anger and indignation, as were his facial expressions. He was very loudly telling the server how he was paying for good food and therefore he demanded nothing but the best, as well as the highest order of respect. So, what was the guest expecting? He was expecting food that is best quality food and highest order of respect. He mentioned that he was a food critic on an online forum and that he would write an honest review of the restaurant. I zoned out of this. I zoned out of his tirade and looked around at the other people there, grab a usually happy lunch. Nearly everyone was staring at the guest, some with a look of disbelief. Would you like dealing with someone as aggressive as him? There is an important difference between being aggressive and being assertive. While aggressive communication makes people withdraw from you, and want to avoid you, assertiveness makes people want to follow you. Add to this the art of persuasion, and you have a winning combination. All right. So you have got most of the answers here. All right. You just read the question and you have the answer in hand. I'm sure the passage is absolutely easy to understand. It's about, an incident which the author has come across while he was taking lunch in a very popular and his regular restaurant. To his surprise, there was this guest who was very arrogant and he was very aggressively talking to one of the staff members. He said that he is a food critic and he is paying for good food, all right, and hence he wants best services, best food, and highest order of respect. With this particular anecdote, what the author wants to actually bring home is this point that there is a difference, line of difference between being aggressive. What is aggressive? Aggressive का मतलब क्या? Talking as if you are a warrior. You're forcing someone to agree with you, or you're forcing your arguments on someone. That is being aggressive. Aggressiveness is basically, identified by loud voice and very arrogant tone. All right. But he says that there is a difference between being aggressive and being assertive. What is assertion? Assertion reasoning. Assertion मतलब हम अपना point of view रख रहे हैं, ठीक है, very strongly. But it is different from being aggressive. In assertiveness, you are putting your point of view. You want the other person to understand, but you are not aggressive. You are not talking in a loud voice. You are talking in a very firm, straight to the point, and clear, way. I can give you an example for this difference. Aggressive, a tone you'll find when people are quarreling. All right. Largely, you can see when a police officer is talking to someone, his tonality is more aggressive, forceful. But when probably a boss is, talking to his team, or maybe a team leader, or maybe director or CEO of a company is addressing to the team, he is not aggressive. He is assertive. That whatever plans he has, he's very clearly, talking to them. So that's what he's saying, that there's a difference between being aggressive and being assertive. He very clearly says that when the person is aggressive, all right, with aggressive communication, what happens? People will withdraw from you. That means they will move away from you. चिक चिक करने वालों के पास कौन खड़ा रहना चाहता है? कोई भी नहीं. ठीक है? They would want to avoid you. If you are just screaming at the top of your voice without any sense, you are just, you just want people to follow you unnecessarily. People will avoid you. But when a person is assertive, all right, then people want to follow. All right, because you're making your point very clear and they would readily want to agree with you. Now is the last part. It is very important, and there's a question on that. Add to this the art of persuasion. What is persuasion? Persuasiveness. It is more than assertive. Okay, that is, you are convincing the other person with a lot of positive energy. All right. So you add a persuasion in assertiveness. That is, you're putting your point very clearly, very straightforward way, but with a lot of positive energy, with a lot of influence on the people. And that is a winning combination. Mostly very popular politicians or social leaders have this art of persuasion. You have these influencers, they have this art of persuasion. So that's a winning combination, that the person is assertive, talking to the point, and is persuasive. That means having a lot of positive energy and modulation to influence people. All right, let's move to the questions now. Okay, first let's understand these words. What is frantically? Who is a frantic? पागलपन जैसे, ठीक है, दैट इज अफरा तफरी जैसा, मतलब बिना कारण के चिल्लाना, अफरा तफरी फैलाना, दैट इज फ्रेनेटिक. ऑलराइट, ऑलराइट. Gesticulating, that means uh, talking with lot of body language, that is making actions with hand, pointing fingers. So he was frantically talking, that is बहुत गुस्से में बात कर रहा था, and he was making lot of gestures which were communicating to the entire entire community which was sitting there in the restaurant, all the guests who were sitting in the restaurant, that this person is really really angry. All right, any other word you want me to discuss? All right, so let's move to the questions. Okay, choose a word similar in meaning to the word tirade. Tirade का मतलब क्या होता है? It is largely about it's a very aggressive speech. इसी से सिमिलर साउंडिंग एक और वर्ड होता है, उसको बोलते हैं जेरेमिएट। ये बेसिकली फ्रेंच वर्ड है। जेरेमिया से आता है। जेरेमिया का मतलब होता है टू लैमेंट, रोना, मातम मनाना किसी चीज पे। सो जेरेमिएट बेसिकली मीन्स mournful. It's a mournful speech, long speech wherein the person is crying, lamenting, मातम मना रहे किसी चीज के ऊपर। जनरली आपने ये सारा चीज देखी होगी लोगों को करते हुए। लीडर्स जनरली जब स्पीच देते हैं तो दे गो अबाउट दिस ऑल, फिर एक वर्ड और होता है हैरंग। हैरंग का मतलब भी होता है लॉन्ग स्पीच, लेकिन ये वाली स्पीच होती है वार्निंग की स्पीच। इट्स अ वार्निंग स्पीच। ठीक है, सो दिस इज बेसिकली रैगिंग करते हैं ना, जैसे लोग एक दूसरे की बहुत ज्यादा एक दूसरे को पिन पॉइंट करते हैं, वार्निंग देते रहते हैं दैट वन शुड नॉट डू दिस और वन शुड नॉट डू दैट, or listing the failures of the other person, then we call it as harangue. All right. So tirade का मतलब होता है aggressive, long aggressive speech with lot of frustration. So यहाँ पर इनसे नियर अबाउट कौन सा दिख रहा है? थ्रेटनिंग स्पीच तो मैंने आपको बता दिया। थ्रेटनिंग स्पीच तो क्या है? harangue. So this is not the answer. फिर energetic oration क्या होता है? persuasion. So that is persuasion. Then assertive conversation, तो assertion हो जाएगा. So the only option left is criticism and accusation, which is very much near to tirade. That is aggressive, being aggressive. All right. Generally, there are people who scream at the top of their voice to talk about the failures of the government, or they are strongly against some laws, like farm laws abhi aaye the. So there were people who were on the street, all right? So the kind of speech which they were using was tirade. Next question. The story narrated in the passage teaches us to be. Now, this is a very no, easy question. The entire passage and the passage, specifically the concluding part, including sentences. क्या बोल रहे हैं वो? The author was talking about difference between being assertive, being aggressive, and being persuasive, isn't it? So the entire story was basically an anecdote to bring home a point that communication में एक छोटा सा डिफरेंस अगर एनर्जी का आ जाता है तो बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस आ जाता है कम्युनिकेशन में, एंड दैट्स व्हाट हिज पर्पस वाज. So he teaches us to be what? Persuasive. And hence is the answer. No brainer है ये. Which of the following is or are correct as per the passage? पढ़ लेते हैं. The guest in the restaurant was treating the waiter appropriately. Obviously, no. The guest in the restaurant was demanding only good food. No, he was demanding respect as well. Respect also. So this is also not correct. Everyone present in the restaurant considered the guest as an aggressive person, no doubt about it. The guest was aggressive as well as assertive? No, not at all. Because author is bringing home that difference only, that the guest was aggressive and not assertive. And hence this is also wrong. Three are wrong, only one is correct, and hence the answer is very clearly C only. इतना इजी आंसर करना है मैं बता रही हूँ तुम्हें दैट रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन का अगर क्वेश्चन तुम छोड़ रहे हो अपने प्रेजुडाइज के कारण तो तुम एक्चुअली में बहुत घाटे का सौदा कर रहे हो देखो तुम कैसे मतलब बिल्कुल चुटकी बजाते ही तुम क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर सकते हो इफ यू हैव दैट प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड एंड थोड़ी सी प्रैक्टिस तुम्हारी अगर है तो ठीक है बिल्कुल इजी गोइंग जा रहे हैं हम लोग all right come to fourth question this is more about the quality related to the meaning or the after effect which the author has talked about. इसको मैं एक बार और दिखा देती हूँ अगर तुम चाहो तो इजी हो जाएगा और देखो this is where we are. Here he says there is an important difference between being aggressive and being assertive. While aggressive communication makes people withdraw from you, want to avoid you. Avoid और withdraw कब करेंगे? Aggressive communication में. Assertiveness makes people want to follow you. ठीक है? An art of persuasion is a winning combination. Now let's move to the question. Here it says aggressiveness. Aggressiveness क्या होगा? People want to withdraw from you. Assertiveness, people would want to follow you. तो A का 4, B का 1, A का 4, B का 1, A का 4 पर यहाँ पर B का 3 आ रहा है. 3 क्या है? Refined. So assertiveness is not refined. All right, what is refined? Politeness. And hence the answer is A. इससे ज्यादा करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Persuasiveness is a winning element. No doubt about it. अभी पढ़ा हमने. ठीक है. Very easy to move. All right. What does winning combination in the story include? Obviously, winning combination should include persuasiveness. But what it includes with persuasive ये वाला तो है ही नहीं फिर aggressiveness तो आ ही नहीं सकती है persuasiveness के साथ में being polite and persuasive और being assertive and persuasive polite की तो वो बात नहीं कर रहा assertive और persuasive की बात कर रहा है and hence the answer is C. Alright, so देखो 5 क्वेश्चन तुमने सॉल्व कर लिए हैं 5 into 4 that is 20 marks easy तुम्हारे पॉकेट में. Let's move on. Any doubt you have? इसमें कैट और जैट जैसे इन्फरेंशियल क्वेश्चंस या टफ कॉम्प्रिहेंशन क्वेश्चंस नहीं है ठीक है बी वेरी कंफर्टेबल सॉल्विंग दीज क्वेश्चंस रोज की थोड़ी सी प्रैक्टिस करने लग जाओ एंड यू विल बी एबल टू सेल थ्रू. Let's move to the next question of CUET 2023. I'm giving you a little time to go through the passage and then we'll read it together. I want you to first read the questions. Before you read the passage, please go through the questions. It will help you a lot because ये कैट और जैट नहीं है. एक एक वर्ड का मीनिंग और एक एक चीज बहुत ध्यान से करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर क्वेश्चंस दिमाग में बिल्कुल क्लियर है कि हमें एग्जैक्टली क्या ढूंढना है उसमें, so you can just skim through the passage and you'll have the answers. All right. So the first one is again this list, matching the list. Gene expression, cortisol, reduced stress, DNA. So we have to, wherever these things are talked about, we have to just focus on that. Choose a statement that are true with regard to your DNA. तो DNA की जहां पर बात की हुई है वहां पर ध्यान से पढ़ना है. Epigenetics is a process. तो कहीं ना कहीं epigenetics की बात हुई होगी, उसको ध्यान से पढ़ना है. Financial problems, job loss, health issues are caused by. So this is again a sentence which is directly quoted from the passage. Consuming too much sugar implies, again, a very clear indication of और the hint from the passage. Consuming too much sugar. तो अब ये ध्यान रखना है कि पैसेज पढ़ते वक्त जहां पर भी इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बात हो रही है थोड़ा सा स्लो डाउन करके ध्यान से पढ़ लेना है, ठीक है? एंड यू हैव द आंसर इन योर हैंड. चलो, लेट्स मूव. Okay, let's read it together. Did you know that your daily habits can turn genes on or off? It's known as gene expression or epigenetics. तो ये लो तुम्हारा एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर तो यही मिल गया तुम्हें. What is epigenetics? It is the gene expression. Gene expression is a process in which certain genes are turned on or off during one's lifetime. The human body contains approximately 100 trillion cells. Within each cell is the nucleus. Inside every nucleus of every cell are our genes. Experts estimate that the average human has over 20,000 genes. Some of these genes came from our mothers and some from our fathers. Believe it or not, your daily habits can turn genes on or off. ये बहुत repetitively बोल रहा है on or off, on or off. Bad habits can turn off good genes and turn on bad genes. Again, he's saying the same thing. This is what is being asserted. This could mean opening the door to cancer, diabetes, various addictions, brain damage, heart disease, etc. Bad habits can create long-term stress in form of financial problems, job loss, health issues, etc. So this is again answer to the question. Long-term stress increases the production of cortisol. This is again a question. A stress hormone. Like a domino effect, cortisol switches on a series of bad genes that can lead to heart disease, cancer, and immunological disorders. Some of the bad habits that turn bad genes on include excessive alcohol consumption, drug use, not eating healthy or eating too much junk food can change your DNA. Lack of daily aerobic exercise, consuming too much sugar. What will this lead to? This would lead to turning on the bad genes. Not exercising our brains by reading or learning new skills. Negative emotions and negative thinking. Conversely, good habits can turn bad genes off and turn good genes on. The byproduct of good habits is reduced stress, resulting from financial independence, happiness, good health. Some of these good habits include daily reading, learning new skills, which can turn on genes that increase your IQ. Daily aerobic exercise, which can turn on genes that prevent heart disease, asthma, other immunological disorder. Meditation, which can turn off bad genes that contribute to the onset of various types of diseases and turn on good genes that prevent such disease. Positive thinking and positive emotions alter the brain's chemistry, which increases or decreases gene expression. All right. Anything you want to ask about this passage? Quite easy moving passage. It is in general about how we can actually change our genetics or turn on the good genes and turn off the bad genes. All right. It is saying that genetically we might have, kind of genes from our mother or father, but it depends on the environment we are in and the kind of routine we follow that we can actually turn on or off the good or bad genes, resulting into the uh, kind of life we are living. If we are disease prone to diseases, we are suffering in maybe financial loss, or maybe we are suffering some kind of health losses, then probably we are on a wrong track. We are actually turning on the wrong genes. All right, let's move to the questions now. Match the list. So this is gene expression, then cortisol, reduce stress, and DNA. So, mm, reduce stress is a byproduct of good habits. So, C has to be 4. Then, if I talk about cortisol, it is basically turning on a bad gene because it is increased stress hormone, isn't it? So, that will turn on the series of bad genes. So, we have to have B2 and C4. So B2, C4, B2, but this is C3. So the answer is A. Gene expression is a process of lifetime, that is epigenetics. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. This is epigenetics. All right. And DNA is changing of genome. All right. Let's move to the next question. Choose the statement that are true with regard to your DNA. So basically, options are including 4 sentences and excluding only one. All right, so we have to see which one has to be excluded, and you have the answer in hand. Let's see. It results into immunological disorder. It is true. The altered DNA gets passed on to our children. Absolutely true. The author is again and again saying this at the top of his voice. Habits are harmful. ये कहाँ लिखा हुआ है? Habits are harmful. ये तो कुछ तो भी बात हो गई. The DNA has the ability to change the genome. Yes, obviously. And that's why he's saying that habits are very important. DNA can make your children better or worse. क्योंकि उसी पे डिपेंड करेगा कि आपका कौन सा जीन सीक्वेंस जो है वो ऑन या ऑफ हो रहा है. So the only sentence which is wrong or false is C. तो C जिसमें नहीं है, इसमें C है, इसमें C है, इसमें C है. So this does not have C, and hence these 4 are true. Epigenetics is a process. So epigenetics is a process. ये रहा. This is where it is. It's known as gene expression or epigenetics. Gene expression is a process in which certain genes are turned on or off during one's lifetime. So let's see the options. In which certain genes are turned on during one's lifetime, in which certain genes remain unchanged, in which daily habits do not play a part, in which certain genes are turned on or off. So this off is not here. Hence, A is not the answer. I'm sorry. So A is not the answer, it is D. All right, because वहां पे off नहीं दिया हुआ है. It is only turning on. Off भी होना चाहिए ना during one's lifetime. So the answer is D. Financial problems, job loss, health issues, etc. are caused by turning on the good genes. Obviously, turning on the good genes, how can you have these issues? Decreasing the production of cortisol, a stress hormone. अगर हमने उसको डिक्रीज किया तो फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स होंगे या रिड्यूस होंगे? बैड हैबिट्स विच कैन क्रिएट लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेस, इम्यूनोलॉजिकल डिसऑर्डर्स, ये तो उसका आफ्टर इफेक्ट है. कंज्यूमिंग टू मच शुगर, ये हमने नेगेटिव वाले में देखा था जहां पर कि बैड जीन्स ऑन हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, एंड हेंस अ बैड हैबिट कैन टर्न अ बैड जीन ऑन. कंज्यूमिंग टू मच शुगर इज अ बैड हैबिट like consuming too much alcohol and that turns a bad gene on. ठीक है, so the answer is A. Reduce stress level, obviously no. Negative thinking, good gene on, तीनों चारों खराब है, इसलिए the answer is A. So you can see very clearly that it's not much of a fuss here. ठीक है, कैट और जैट के जैसे डिफिकल्ट आरसीज नहीं है. मैं बार बार असर्टिवली ये तुम्हें समझा रही हूँ. ठीक है, दैट सीयूईटी में रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन को छोड़ना सबसे बड़ा पाप है. ठीक है, you have to stick to solving these reading comprehension passages. Just do one thing, and that is every day solve 2 to 3 passages of easy to moderate level. You can take any बुक. अरुण शर्मा तुम्हारे पास होगी क्योंकि कैट की प्रिपरेशन अगर तुम कर रहे हो. निशित के सिन्हा, आई एम श्योर बहुत सारे लोगों के पास होगी. ऑनलाइन बहुत सारा मटेरियल अवेलेबल है. ठीक है, और यू कुड गो हेड एंड सॉल्व passages from your own sources. No problem at all. The only purpose is 2 से 3 passages रोज सॉल्व करने हैं. एंड उनको कैसे सॉल्व करना है? बिल्कुल वैसे ही जैसे तुम 12th के बोर्ड में, 10th के बोर्ड में तुम्हारे अनसीन पैसेजेस को सॉल्व करते थे. नथिंग मोर देन दैट. आई वांट यू टू स्कोर वेरी गुड इन वर्बल सेक्शन. ठीक है, ये नो ब्रेनर्स है, इसमें कोई कैलकुलेशन नहीं है, इसमें कोई मेमोरी का गेम नहीं है. ठीक है, यहाँ पर आंसर सामने दिया हुआ है. क्वेश्चन पढ़ो, आंसर ढूंढो, मार्क करो, आगे बढ़ जाओ. दैट्स इट. चलो लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पैसेज. पैसेजेस भी देखो तुम, बहुत लेंदी पैसेजेस नहीं है. एज आई एम टेलिंग यू अगेन एंड अगेन, पैसेजेस 150-200 वर्ड से 350-400 वर्ड्स के बीच में है. नॉट लेंदी पैसेजेस. Go ahead. First, read the questions. Which of the following are correct as per the given statement? People came to Wazir from all places because he was. तो किसी वजीर के बारे में बात हो रही है, उसको ध्यान से पढ़ना है. The story proves that. तो again, what the story proves, जैसे पिछले पैसेज में था. With the Wazir's wisdom, the tall man was whatever. Choose the correct option. Wazir discovered the real owner of the horse. कैसे करा उसने? Which of the following best describes the other man? ठीक है. Let's read the story now. I'm giving you a little time and then we'll read together. Okay, let's read it together. The once old Wazir was famous for his judgment, and people came to him for justice from all parts of the country. ये तुम्हारा पहला आंसर मिल गया. One day, 2 men came to his court and claimed ownership of an extraordinarily good looking horse. It was a black beauty indeed. One of the men was tall, very well dressed, and soft spoken. The Wazir heard them patiently and asked them to leave the horse and come to him next morning. Both the men came the next morning. The Wazir asked his soldiers to give the horse to the tall man and to arrest the other man. The tall man wanted to know how the Wazir had learned the truth. Very simple, he said. Firstly, a man of your appearance and manners could not have been the thief. Still, I wanted to be sure. Just after you had left the court, I asked one of my soldiers to leave the horse free and to see whom it followed. It went after you. The hint was enough for me. Quite intelligent. All right. I hope the story is very clear. Without. Okay, let's move to the questions now. Which of the following is or are correct as per the given statement? People came to Wazir from all places because he was very famous, old judge, old Wazir, very patient listener, a wise judge. Choose the correct answer. A and E. E is absolutely correct. A and E is very famous and wise judge. Let's see. The wise old Wazir was famous for his judgment, and people came to him for justice from all parts of the country. So, he was famous for his judgment. All right. Then B, C, and D. C, he was an old Wazir, but that's not what people came him to. Very patient listener. He was a patient listener, but that's not what people came to. Well, people wanted to have good decisions. So that's the reason why they came to him. And hence the answer is C. Although these are all except for this, one, two, three, four, all are given, but then that's not what people came to him for. People came to him for wise judgment when they were not able to take decisions, isn't it? This story proves that the court was quite popular and the men were very smart. The judge was very clever. The horse was very clever. Wow. The horse was a real beauty. Is that what the story proves? The judge was indeed quite wise and intelligent. So, obviously, yes. So, E is the only answer. The men were not very smart. Had they been very smart, they wouldn't have come to this wazir, isn't it? The court was quite popular. That's okay. That's true. But this is not true. Judge was very clever. No, he was indeed a wise and an intelligent man. All right. Okay. With the wazir's wisdom, the tall man was consoled, impressed, embarrassed, undecided, confused. So confused, undecided, consoled, embarrassed. So he was only impressed. कंसोल मालूम है ना किसको बोलते हैं? किसी को ढांढस बंधाना, नो, किसी को अ, कोई रो रहा है या परेशान हो रहा है तो उसको कंसोल करना. So it was not that he was consoling him कि कोई गलत चीज हो गई उसके साथ में. Undecided तो वो थे पहले when they came to him. It is not the wazir's wisdom that made him undecided. All right. So he was impressed by his quick decision and a very, accurate decision. He was surprised that how he came to know about it. All right. So answer should be B only. Choose the correct option. The wazir discovered the real owner of the horse By arresting the other man? No. From the appearance and good manners of the tall man? Possibly. By patiently listening to the case of theft? By knowing whom the horse followed? By leaving the horse free? Okay. Let's see from the passage. I suppose he was talking about two things. He said, firstly, a man of your appearance and manners could not have been the thief. Still, I wanted to be sure. Just after you had left the court, I asked one of my soldiers to leave the horse free and to see whom it followed. तो बेसिकली उसने किस चीज से कंफर्म किया कि हॉर्स किसको फॉलो कर रहा है, ठीक है, एंड द हिंट वाज इनफ फॉर हिम. So basically, he decided that who is the owner by seeing who the horse followed. So he did not leave the horse free. He only left the horse free for a little bit of time and asked the soldiers to do that. And possibly it is only by seeing that घोड़ा किसको follow कर रहा है, he was able to make a clear decision. All right. So the answer should be D. Although he was talking about appearance and good manners of the tall man, but B and D का option नहीं है. Which of the following best describe the other man? तो एक तो है tall, well mannered, और well dressed, I suppose. ठीक है ना? Well dressed. So he was kind of a noble man. Okay, तो other man कैसा होगा? उसका opposite. ठीक है, that's why the वजीर was able to make that contrast. तो contrast क्या होगा इसका? तो पहली चीज तो ये कि वो tall नहीं होगा. फिर well dressed. So ill dressed, not well dressed, तो लिखा हुआ है. फिर well mannered. ये good mannered नहीं हो सकता, courteous नहीं हो सकता, harsh in expression या loud voiced. इन दोनों में से कोई एक होना चाहिए. तो थिन और पुअरली बिल्ड, तो वो जो टॉल मैन है उसके बिल्टअप के बारे में कुछ नहीं है. इट इज ओनली दैट ही वाज टॉल, वेल मैनर्ड एंड वेल ड्रेस्ड. So probably this is something which we cannot make out, and hence the only option left is A. Probably he was ill-dressed, he was short-statured and loud-voiced. That means he had very rough mannerisms. All right. He was kind of a rogue, not a well-mannered noble. So we can very clearly make out. All right. So this brings to end of the session. Before we call it a day or we call it a session, all right, let's revise whatever we have learned from this session. आज की major learnings क्या क्या हैं? चलो बताओ. What did you learn from today's session? The first thing is 10 questions of reading comprehension questions. So 10 into 4, that is 40 marks in your pocket. All right, without much problem. No calculations, no memory, nothing. Answer is there in front of you. You just have to read and find the answer. So you don't skip RC. अपने prejudice के कारण RC छोड़ना नहीं है. You have to do it. All right, that's the biggest learning. Second is RCs are easy to moderate. Level of difficulty जो है LOD क्या है? Easy to moderate. Hence they are doable you shouldn't have, any problem in solving these questions. Most of the questions are direct and easy to locate. Okay, so you just have to have that practice of doing it very quickly. All right, then I wanted you to follow this method of mine in CUET. All right, NMAT, CUET, CMAT, इसमें ये वाला process follow करेंगे क्या? Read the questions first, then you will come to passage. You can skim the passage if you want, skim up the passage. And if you're a good reader, that means you have a good reading speed, then probably you don't have to skim. You can read it quickly. Read the passage quickly. All right. And you will just have to find the answers. There are no inferential questions as such, so you'll be easily able to locate these answers. The only thing you have to keep in mind is don't waste a lot of time in RC solving. Okay, you have to keep that in mind, that you have to be very quick, swift in your movement, but you shouldn't skip them. All right, you have to have these 40 marks in your pocket, and you also have to be a little fast. I don't want you to be hasty, but you have to move a little fast. All right, and you can do that. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that the first thing which I wanted you to understand is, अरुण शर्मा है तुम्हारे पास में? अरुण शर्मा के इनिशियल जो चैप्टर्स हैं आरसी के, ठीक है, दैट इज एलओडी 1 and 2, एलओडी 1 and 2, इसके पैसेजेस तुमको सॉल्व करने हैं। अरुण शर्मा नहीं है तो निशित के सिन्हा, निशित के सिन्हा, ठीक है, दोनों में से जो भी तुम्हारे पास में हो उसको तुम सॉल्व कर सकते हो। Apart from that, I would suggest that you can read columns, read editorials. It's not just for RCs, but then आप खुद देख रहे हो कि RC में जो passages हैं, they are a part of those editorials, probably an anecdote taken from there or something like that. तो editorial पढ़ने की रोज की आदत है, then you'll not find it very difficult. ठीक है, तो editorials के लिए मैं इसलिए भी बोल रही हूँ, it's not just about your written exam of CUET. CUET में तो काम आएगा ही, प्लस इसमें जीडी जो होगा, एंड आफ्टर दैट ऑल्सो पीआई जो होगा, इंटरव्यूज होगा, उस इन दोनों में जनरल अवेयरनेस इज अ लिटिल टफ नट टू क्रैक। ठीक है, उसमें जनरल अवेयरनेस के एनालिसिस के क्वेश्चन जरूर आते हैं। इवन जीडी टॉपिक्स भी जो होते हैं, दे आर करंट अफेयर्स टॉपिक्स, बट देन दे एक्सपेक्ट यू टू हैव that social awareness. All right, they don't want people to be completely oblivious of what is happening in the society. Bookworms की कोई जगह नहीं है टाटा इंस्टीट्यूट में. So I want you to be well aware of what is happening around, and hence I want you to read the editorials every day. All right, it is going to help you in reading comprehension, no doubt about it. It will enhance your speed of reading, and it will also enhance your retention from the passage. But it is going to help you in GD as well and interviews. Okay? So take my word as not an order, not a request, but maybe, a learning, you know, that you should read editorials so that you are able to do it. 75 questions are total, so I expect 25 questions of VA out of these 75. And in that, I would say vocabulary and RC. So vocab plus grammar is equals to RC. ऐसा मतलब लगभग लगभग है। ठीक है, तो vocab के ऊपर भी थोड़ा सा फोकस करना है, लेकिन ज्यादा फोकस इसके ऊपर इसलिए क्योंकि this the answer is there in front of you. So this is going to be uh, the end of the session. Anything which you want to ask me, any comments, any doubts, I can wait for you, else we can end the session. I'm sure you've learned a lot from this session, and I'm sure that in CUET PG preparation, you'll never ignore RCs. Okay, so thank you so much. Have a nice day and have good preparation for your CUET exam. All the very best. Namaste.